Today we will be looking at The Last of Us Episode 2. Here we go. Start off with, I just want to remind you all that I will be spoiling Episode 2 of The Last of Us, so if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It was really good. It's worth watching it and not spoiling it for yourself, so please go watch it, enjoy it. You don't always get good TV and good movies like this, so enjoy what you get. But with that said, also I wanted to just remind you all to be careful out there for spoilers. I'll let you know when I'm going to predict what happens next. I think we have a pretty good idea. One of the good things they've been doing so far is following the video game, so no worries there. But with all that said, I really enjoyed this episode. It was pretty dead on to the game. They changed a little thing, but listening to why they changed it, I thought it worked out pretty well. There's only one thing that I could kind of criticize, and that's that opening. In my opinion, you should be spending more time with Joel and Ellie. That's what this show is going to be about. That's what makes this game great. I think having more information than you need can be damaging when you're trying to tell a story about these two people, because it diverts the attention. It's not really about why this is happening or what caused this. It's kind of irrelevant to our story, really. As we get it up, you can see Ellie's the cure, and he's gonna try to get her west and try to create some cure to these clickers, this plague that attacked humanity, these mushroom people. And they're trying to solve that, and it doesn't really matter why it happened. It doesn't matter what they did about it or what's going on. It's kind of interesting, right? I think it's interesting. I think they did it well, but I think you could dilute the story when you do something like that, when you're not focused in on what's this really about and what really matters. I guess I would just like more focus on the characters than, I don't know, some background that doesn't really matter. It's not significant. I mean, it was interesting and it was really well done, but I want you to focus on the characters. I don't want you to focus on other things that don't matter significantly. If you played the video games, I'd rather them have done like a Left Behind opening, which might come later. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Eventually you'll see it. But that's worth something that shows you off the characters, but they haven't done that yet. So yeah, that's really my only complaint. I think episode 2s can be hard just because you're going into it, you're trying to build up, you're not really on the journey yet, and this is kind of our launching pad. So yeah, this episode we lose Tez, which is the big thing. In the video game they get surrounded by Vedra. That did not happen here. The clickers came and you saw that weird kissing scene, which I think a lot of people have trouble with it. I think it was really interesting. You see her losing control and trying to fight it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was adding a lot of tension, and you see it come up in her face like she doesn't want to do it. She's trying to light the lighter to get out. It was very well done. That's obviously not in the game. We don't actually get to see what happens to Tez. We don't get to see if she turns or blows up or she gets shot. So it's kind of different, but I think it works here, and the way they explain it on the podcast makes sense. It doesn't really make sense for Vedra to be out that far, so why have him out there? And having like these runners, these clickers out there, that makes sense. It was also interesting on the podcast they do, hearing him talk about how the fungus loves. That was absolutely creepy. But overall, this episode, I don't know, it was just kind of a progressor. Like, you get to see Ellie and Joel alone for the first time, and the back and forth. And we'll get to see how that banter grows. Right now, it's kind of stiff, right? But I think I like it, and you also get to see Ellie kind of experience like world out of the quarantine zone for the first time. Besides the one place that she hinted at, which I hope they explore more, and I think they will. When she got bit, but yeah, I don't know. This episode, like, it's not why I love this show. Like, from what I've seen, most people knew Tez was gonna die, and as someone who played the game before, knew Tez was gonna die. And this is kind of like the sending off. So I think the most important thing is to keep perspective. I don't think this is, like I said, it's not gonna be the peak. Next episode is supposed to be very good, and this is just the start of our journey. Um, I think when we're all finished with this whole episode will be much better when you can watch episode 1, episode 3 with this episode in between. Kind of like back to back to back, like you're watching a movie. Like in a binge, this episode's more tolerable. Um, it just moves plot along and gets us to the story. In the game, it's easier to get there because you're just playing through and it's only the first couple hours. But yeah, I thought they were gonna push all the way through this in the first episode, to be honest with you, because I didn't think this part was that important. I see why they moved it, but whenever I play through, this is like my first, like, if I'm gonna stop, this is gonna be my first stopping point. Um, and the next chunk that we're gonna see next episode is where I stop next, but usually this is where I play through. I don't think this episode's gonna be the best by any means. I don't think when people are gonna look back about this show, they're not gonna point to this episode as like tanking it or making it good or bad. Like I said, the only thing that I didn't care for was the beginning, and it was well done, and it's not the end of the world. Doesn't mean they screw the story up. It's just like I want them to focus on the characters, and that's what's important to me. And I want them to be able to show those characters properly to new people. So, with that being said, I am going to talk about what's going to happen next. So, if you do not want spoilers, go ahead and click off. Please like, comment, and subscribe. But with that being said, I'm pretty confident that without watching the trailers for next week, because I don't need to, that next week's episode is going to be all about Billstown and trying to get a battery and a car and to get out of Billstown and to go forward or adventure. I think they also casted Frank. You would know if you watched the trailer, but I think we at some point in the video game we see Frank hang himself, or he's hung. He gets bit. He gets hung. He leaves a message for Bill about him being an asshole. So there's going to be some animosity between those two. Hopefully it's some good banter. I think they've casted the characters pretty well, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, I guess the one thing I didn't talk about at all is how much more I like Ellie. She's starting to grow on me. Bella Ramsey, right? Yeah, Bella Ramsey. She's starting to grow on me. I mean, there are parts of this episode where I'm like, Pedro Pascal literally looks CGI'd, like how much he looks like Joel. So, yeah, overall performance was good. I'd expect that next week and that to encapsulate our episode. I'm trying to think what else happens. Now, just getting the battery. It'd be interesting to see if we see that bloater. I think that's what it was called, but they have like a bigger zombie that throws like spores. And they kind of joked about it this episode. I wouldn't think we would see it because it's kind of video gamey to have that boss and you never see him in this game or the next one. You don't see anything like that again. So it'll be interesting to see what they keep, what they get rid of. But that's all I have for now. I'm excited about this next episode. I think it's going to be really good. I want to try to get this video out sooner. But let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Ciao.